Well, hi there. Right, in this video I'm going to explain how to reassemble a Braun shaver after replacing the nickel metal hydride batteries in it. Now I know that's a bit odd, but unfortunately I didn't video taking it apart, but I still think you'd find it helpful, and I do explain at the end how it actually comes apart, which is pretty straightforward. Putting it back together was a bit of a challenge, and this video is not recommended for people of a nervous disposition or with shaky hands or poor eyesight. But let's get on with it. In front of you here you have got a Braun 340S-4 rechargeable, supposedly waterproof shaver, which I'm about to reassemble after replacing the two knackered nickel metal hydride batteries in it, because they've just about finished their useful working life. I recharge it and then within a day or two it says it needs recharging again. Apparently these are 1600 milliamps. I'm replacing it with Panasonic Eneloops, which I've used loads of. They hold their charge really well. It says they're pre-charged. These are actually 1900 milliamps, so a bigger capacity, and should give this shaver another few years of good life. Well, I say it's working fine anyway, it just needs recharging too often. What I'm going to do is show you real time me trying to reassemble it, and then I'll just say very quickly how it actually comes apart, because if you see how I put it back together you should get a pretty good clue how it actually comes apart. What you need is a small screwdriver of some sort, a little tiny star driver. I don't know if I can get that to focus. This is 2mm. Now I got a kit here years back. I got a kit when I was taking apart a mobile phone. So one of those. Probably need some lead and nose pliers, because what I've got to do is, I'll just jump ahead a bit here. What I've got to do is, you'll see these batteries only clip in, but they aren't a conventional battery with a... Let's get these out. Right, as I was saying, as you can see they're just an AA battery. But these are obviously specially made for the Braun charger. Oh, I shouldn't be touching the circuit board on that side. They're obviously made for that because they've got a little tiny nipple at each end. So what I'm going to have to do is prise these out, bend the clips down slightly so that I'm sure they make a good contact, and replace them. Tells you on which way to go round. That one's plus up that end. So I would say this one is probably plus at that end, because the two in series will give you, well, getting on for 3 volts. Actually these batteries are more like 1.4 when they're fully charged, or 1.2 it says. Nominally 1.2 but 1.4 fully charged. So first thing I'm going to do is, well, actually just take a look at what we've got here first anyway. Once you've taken it apart, you've got the shell, which has got a motor in it, push button there that starts the thing, rubber grommet that goes round somewhere, yeah, here to make it waterproof. I have seen another one that someone's taken apart where the water got in, and I must admit I don't use it in a shower. But anyway, so that's got a motor there that drives a little a motor that's going round and round and round and round there, and that drives this, which drives this little blades that cut back and forth. So that's pretty basic. Getting it apart wasn't too difficult, and hopefully you're going to see when I put it back together. Putting it back together is not too difficult. So first thing I'm going to do, like I say, is gently prise these out. And it is, I wonder if it shows it on there underneath. Let's see, let's prise that out. Let's get that out. It does actually show on there as well, minus that end. So let's get them out. Oh, whoops. Just like that. Pick it up off the floor. Right, I'm back again. Okay, so now I'm hoping that these are going to go in, because they look like a standard size battery. Yeah, basically all I've got to do is just give these a bit of a bend to make sure. Probably don't even need needle nose pliers. I'm going to give it just gently bend. Oh, pulled it away. Actually, yeah. Probably not. Probably got to be careful how you do that, because that actually pulled the clip away slightly. So I'm going to just bend it slightly like this with this. Bend that like that. I'll do it there. Can you see that? be safer to do it with some needle nose pliers, because otherwise that's only kind of riveted on there onto the plastic. So that should do that end. Same thing on this end. Because obviously you want a good contact here, you don't have to be taking it apart again. So as I say, plus up that end, plus down this end, so that gives it 2 in series. So let's put that one in. Oh yeah, that's a good snug fit. Let's put this one in. I've not measured the voltage, but it says they're pre-charged. Yeah, get in there. I've done such a good job of bending the clips I can't get it in. Let's get it in. Right, so that's the 2 in. Don't think there's anything much more I have to do with that. You should try and avoid touching, there's probably a little microprocessor there. You should try and avoid touching circuit boards unless you're wearing a static strap or something, because you might just kill something. But anyway, I've got to give it a try. Oh, I just managed to bend that as well. Right, so those are the contacts. Now putting it back together, and you're seeing this real time because I've never done it before. Let's have a look at this. Yeah, looking at this you can see that's the contacts for the motor and the switch, push button switch here. You've got one there, one there. So this just basically sits in here, and that is the push button stop start. So that just, oh, the batteries have just fallen out. Okay, well, you're seeing it real time. Okay, I'll slip that back in, make sure I get it the right way, positive down. Yep, I was thinking about maybe putting a bit of tape over that. Yeah, so I'm just going to put this back in. Well, I was going to put the camera on. Got this, yeah, so go like that, on there. Ah, I see, and at the bottom end here, you've got contacts. That's where the mains charging lead goes in, and you've got 3 contacts there. So basically when you're sliding this back in, you've got to put those pins go into there. Oh, no, and I've still managed to knock it out again. Or have I? Yeah. Not quite in. Okay, we get there with this. Right, well this is, they call this Scotch crystal tape. It's a posh version of tape. I use it on radio control planes and things because it's got a life of God knows how many years. So let's put a little strip of that across. Yep, cut a little bit of tape. Was a pretty good guess. Oh, and we've got flashing light here. What is that about? Don't know. Oh, probably because I pressed the button. Yeah, anyway, so that's in there snug now. Oh yeah, that's because I'm pressing the stop start button. They're obviously not charged enough at the minute to run it, which is why it's flashing red, which means needs to charge. Okay, so now I've got that secured with a bit of tape. Yeah, just nice actually. I'm going to carefully put it in. Sorry about the shaky hands, they're always a bit shaky, but it's nice to see that light flashing. At least I know that's working. So that's going to go there. Push down, push down. Yeah, that's in snug now. And I've still got that light flashing. That's good, at least it means it's working. Right, now this is going to be the interesting bit. Now when I took it apart, there were in fact only 2 screws into it, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, looking at this more closely, one was in there because these are blanked off, and one was in there, so this should go back on with short screws go around here, and as I say, one in that corner, one in that corner. So we put this on. As far as I recall, that's all there was involved. Make sure the gasket's clean if you are going to use it in waterproof situation. So short screw, one there, I'll just put it partly in for a second. Put it partly in, one there, because you'll see once it's reassembled the outer casing bit actually keeps it together anyway. Don't need to over tighten it, but because you're screwing into plastic, but you want it tight enough to hold the case together. Right, so that's that bit done. The next bit is this part, which actually fits snugly round it like so. Now this was the trickier part to get off at the unassembly stage or the disassembly stage. This was the tricky part, because as you can see it's got little tags and little tags that just kind of pop on. So slide it on. Something like that. I think maybe have I got this the wrong way round? Nope. Yeah, tag there. Tag there. Looks like it's going. It's going on that side. It's going on this side. Except I've folded one tag under. Yeah, folded one tag under there, I think. Let's try and get it out. Yep. Right. I think that's right. Then you've got the push button. It's quite tricky doing this in front of a camera. You've got the push button there. Good, that's working. And this goes which way? It's got 4 tags at the top and 2 at the bottom. Probably goes that way and that way. Yeah, that's looking good. Right, so we're almost at a stage to fit the head on it. Now at this point I made a bit of a boo-boo, and I'm going to show things a bit out of sequence, because I started messing around reinstalling the springs and the clips on the head, and what I hadn't realised is there's a gasket that should have gone under it first. So let's take a look at fitting the gasket, and then I'll show you how the springs and so on are fitted on the very top bit. So let's have a look at the gasket fitting. Problem I've had here is I took this apart 3 or 4 days ago, and then I ordered the batteries and they turned up late, because I was thinking, oh, I will remember how I've taken it apart. Got a pretty sure feeling, yeah, because there's O-rings there, that this little gasket fits under this. So I'm going to have to be very careful and do this off camera, because holding it here in front of the camera, when I drop things, they end up on the floor. Whereas if I do it leaning over this in a more controlled fashion, I don't drop things. So I'll be back in a minute once I've put this gasket underneath. Right, so the important thing now is I've got to put this little gasket on before we put the top back on that. And there are 2 O-rings, which are so easy to lose. So easy to lose. Now, does that come out? No. I see you've got one little tab. In fact, I'm going to take the O-rings off, because I've just done this once, and you've got a tiny little tab there which is supposed to hold it's slightly flat on one face and slightly round on the other, so that's got a flat face and that's got a round face, if you can see that. Can you see that? So flat face goes there with a little tab. I'm going to have to do that down here. I can't do it and see what I'm doing on the screen. I'm going to have to do this down here. So you've got a little tab there. Nope, messed it up again. Little tab there that slides. Can't get it in. Slides there. In fact, I should have done that before I popped those sides on. pop that out a little bit. I'm going to pop that out a little bit, the cover, so I can get to that. Right, so and I just dropped the screw. I tell you what, it's 10 times more difficult trying to work while you're making a video, because instead of just getting on with it, you're always thinking, is this going to be in shot? But anyway, I'll get that in there. I can't even see it without my glasses. Where are my glasses? Right, try again now with my glasses so that I can see what I'm doing. I'll put this wide because I've no idea whether it's in front of the camera or not. Wide. Let's do it down here. And that's better. I can see now. That's the flat side. That's the curved side. That's the tab. Get the tab in. You don't really need the tab, but they put it there, so I suppose I feel obliged to use it. Let's get the tab on this side. Yeah, it goes on that side easily enough. Right. No wonder it's a snug fit, that's the problem with it. Okay. And now get this side on. This is the worst bit of the blooming job. Right, tab. Okay, it's the tab on. Yeah, right, so right, I don't know if you saw that, but anyway, I've got it on there. Now I can push these back in a bit, and the tiny little tabs hook on under there to make that secure. So having got the gasket fitted, I could now finish fitting the springs and the little clips and things on the top section and fit that. Anyway, I said this was going to be a warts and all video, and I must admit when I first saw videos of people dismantling it and putting it together, I was a little bit worried, but for 50 quid for a new shaver it's probably worth doing. So this goes on here, on. That helps keep this case together. So now we've got to that stage, I can put this bit back on. Put the odd one that has to go on first on this side. Put the spring on it. Put the little clip on the top. Put that on that side. Around. Oh, that's clear as mud. I'll show you on this little close-up. It's much clearer here. Oh, this was the tricky bit, you see, because on one side, take this off. On one side, you've got this bit that slides over, and then the other bit sits on top of it. And then that bit slides down on top, and that kind of keeps that whole assembly together. That was the bit that confused me most. Maybe you can see it now. So we've got all three there. We've got the O-rings on. Last two screws. One there. One there. And I tell you what, I'm not going to disassemble this to show you how it comes apart. So I've got to put it back together again. Right, so it screws up. Yep. And now I'm thinking, with a bit of luck, this should just clip on. Now, as I say, it needs charging, so it's not going to work for the minute. So wish me luck. I'm going to put it on charge and see if this thing's actually going to work now. So don't go away, I'll be back in a bit once it says it's charged. Right, well that's it, that's a good sign anyway. The green light's flashing, so it is charging. And incidentally, as far as replacing these batteries go, you can actually go online and buy the proper replacement batteries for these if you don't want to mess around using inner loops and bending stuff. Maybe I should have done that. Right, hopefully this is going to work once the green light goes out. See you in a bit. Go and have a cup of tea. In fact, impatient as always, I couldn't resist pressing the button. And it is working! Hooray! So I'll just quickly tell you about how you disassemble it now. Got loads of power there now anyway. Thought I'd just quickly run through how it comes apart. You saw how it went back together. First off, you've got to take that off. Then you've got to take out these two screws with this 2mm star drive thing. Once you've got that lifted off, very carefully you prise this out. Pull this out a little bit and prise this out. You've probably got to pull it out. You saw there are clips all the way around. It's just a question of getting a blade. I saw on one somebody used a piece of plastic. Getting a blade, tuck it in there. Got to be a bit brutal with it, but nothing broke. Pull that apart. Once you've got that apart, as you saw, this bit will come out, and then two screws, lift that off, and you've got access to the circuit board, and that lifts out. So run my video backwards and you'll see how it actually came apart. But anyway, I think you'd get a pretty good idea by seeing how it went back together. Important things to mention again are be very careful when you take this bit off, because that's the bit that does the work. And if you lose one of these little screws, and the little tiny O-rings under there and the gasket there, bit of a pain to put back on. But hope you found that helpful. I must admit, putting it back together, I wish I'd videoed when I took it apart. There are a couple of videos online. Some show it well, some don't. Particularly, they don't really show the assembly of this bit, like I say, and maybe my video does show you that it's not easy to show. But basically the one in the middle is driven by the shaft on this side. You'll work it out, just take it apart very carefully and you'll work it out. But that's it for now. Hope you found it useful. I found it an interesting exercise. Maybe you'd like to check out some of the other vids, and if you did find it useful, why not hit subscribe? Click, 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 click. Check out some of my other vids, all kinds of stuff, lots of flying, paramotoring, paragliding, bit of sailing, lots of wildlife stuff, radio controlled models, loads of that. Any road, that's all for now, so I'll catch you again later, and maybe it's time to wash my filthy coffee cup. But thanks for now, thanks for watching, see you all again soon, bye for now.